Okay, Dr. V, we have a situation here when most of immigrants come, especially to the United States of America. In the US, we have one different type of system, which is not in many other countries, the concept of credit score, where you are given a particular number to show your trustworthiness, and that one will determine interest and so forth and so forth.
Yes.
But majority of us, when we get that card, we just go to enjoy. We don't know the impact of that number, the score. But for those few who have very good score, again, in the end, they are using that one just like any other person, just to get loans of house, getting the loan for the car, getting the loan for this one, getting the loan for this one. But in the end, is when it comes to factor the interests, how much you're going to pay, a house, how much you're going to pay, and everything is going to affect more when we get older and when we decide when should I retire, or rather, how independent should I be financially when I'm getting older.
Right.
So, while it is good to have a very good credit score, can you advise people not to jump into the credit score that now I have good score, I can do anything I want with that, so that you cannot affect your future?
Right. So, yes, so the credit system in America, actually, it's a very powerful system. As a matter of fact, I do encourage people to have good credit score, because you will definitely pay to your advantage, even as a big investor, if you have good credit, so it's a very, very good thing to have. But here's the problem, though. As you have said, I think the issue is not having good credit. The issue is understanding how to utilize the credit system. Because most of us, yes, we come here, the only strategy we know is I pay back on time so I can have a good score. But the question comes, okay, now you have a good score, you have more access to, the money that you can borrow. But how do you utilize that money? Because there's good credit and then there's also bad credit. Because when you talk about how you're going to, let's say, ask that money, let's say from the bank, from your credit card, as an example, for your credit card, you need to understand, okay, with this kind of sorry, I meant to say debt, right? With this kind of debt, is it good debt or is it bad debt? You see? So yes, it's building your score, but also let's be honest. Oftentimes when you use your credit card, Ernest, do you use it when you have a lot of money? Or use it when you're broke?
You want to travel to Tanzania, you are short 500, let me use my credit.
Yes. So oftentimes we use our credit cards when we don't even have the money. You see? Yeah. So what you're doing is you're borrowing this money from the bank, but the question is, do you really understand how banks work? Because there's something called compound interest. That's another thing that a lot of people don't know, or rather people forget. So what it means is I went and I used my credit card $2,000. And then the bank says, hey, you got to return this money in a year, and I'm going to be charging you interest every single year if you don't return it. And this interest is maybe, let's say, 18%, 20%. That's going to be applied on the $2,000 and every interest after that. So that means, guess what? By the time, and I'm only worried about minimum payments. It's a perception. People think, hey, because I can afford minimum payments, then I can afford that particular thing. That's not true. It's the opposite. It's because you cannot afford it, that's why you're doing minimum payments.
Yeah.
But people feel like, oh, because I'm doing minimum payments, then I can afford it. No. So you do your minimum payments. By the time you're done paying for the credit card, you've paid maybe $6,000 back or $5,000 back. That's an extra money that you're paying away. Okay. What about, let's say you want to go to school, you want to go to college. Same thing, get student loans. Same thing. They're what? Compounding. You pay way more compared to what you borrowed. As if that's not enough, most of us here, we buy cars. Let's be honest here, Ernest. How many of us buy our cars cash? We want a brand new car, if
when you are the first month you are coming, you can use $1,000 cash. But when you have credit, you have to get a brand new
Everybody has
0 mile.
Exactly, So the system makes you feel like you're owning those things, and you really don't. So you are spending, let's say, so this car is supposed to be $30,000, and you're in a system where you're worried about, because you're financing, you're only worried about what's the minimum, what's the lowest I can pay, right? So you're putting away money. By the time you pay off this car, you've spent maybe $40,000-$70,000, and then 7 years later, you're wondering, I've been working so hard. Where's my money going? well, your money has been going back to the system, or even a house. You buy a house and they're charging you on this mortgage. You don't understand how the interest work. You always end up paying way more compared to what the actual loan was. So having good credit is good, but you need to understand how to use it. Also, understanding how to compound your money makes a difference, because remember, the system, especially the credit system, they make a lot of money through this compounding aspect, right, of your money. How about we switch that and you get to compound your own money? That is when it can make a difference. Because I tell you, Ernest, imagine you have a mortgage that's 30 years. You have a car that is also compounding against you. And this car, every 10 years, by the way, you need another car anyways.
Yeah.
You see, you still have student loans. You still have to worry about credit cards. Almost everything's on credit. By the time it's time for retirement, yes, your house is paid off, but you have no cash flow. So are you going to take a bulb, as I said the other day, are you going to take a bulb to buy bread? No. So even at retirement, you need cash flow. So having a balance of understanding how credit system work and how it can make it give you an advantage as opposed to just, use it to your disadvantage is very powerful. Because retirement comes, very faster than we think. So it's very important to have cash flow and understanding cash flow and the entire credit system and how it works. Yeah.
Yeah, so people should know there is something beyond just the credit score. Yes, we can struggle and have that score, but do you use it in your advantage, or you're going to abuse it, or the system is going to abuse you, basing on the game they play? That means in the end, they're going to benefit from you, for you not to benefit at all from the system.
Right.
So thank you for sharing that one, which is a very big problem for so many of us. Some people, they can take even 3-4 years, they do not even know what is credit score. Some people, they already compound interest, they're going to hear today for the first time what is the impact of it.
Yeah.
But all these are the things which, especially us as immigrants, we are coming here for the first time, we are way behind.
Way behind.
Because some of these kids, they might know, even like just from their stories, but for you, you do not know, like.
Yeah.
So that is a very big problem.
As a matter of fact, sometimes we learned compound interest in school. I remember when I was in the 4th grade, I learned compound interest.
But sometimes it's just...
But how do you apply in real life?
You study in terms of tomatoes, whatever. Not like in the terms like, okay, but this is going to affect you when you're going to get old.
Exactly. Yeah, so understanding like the personal finance of things makes a difference. We were making jokes the other day and we said, can you imagine even the math teacher, that professor, is still paying compound interest today, and they're the ones that taught you about it. So understanding in class versus in real life is totally different.
Very true.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much. And we are going to put the link of someone who is in the US or who is in Canada, wants to get the financial consultation and how you can start saving your money, how you can start investing. So there will be a link, and it is on my website, which is ebmscholars.com/financial education, but the link, it will be also in the description of all these videos, where you can be in touch with Dr. V to get this type of information, and you can start as soon as possible. Doesn't matter whether you have been here the first week of your first week in US or Canada, or just you have been here for 10 years. And the mistake which I can tell you is this one: most of us who have been here many years, they feel shy, or sometimes they feel like they are too late, so they don't even want to know. There is no shyness. Even if you 20 years you have never done this one, you can start better later than,
better late than never.
Yeah. Because sometimes you can say, okay, I'm not going to do. In the end, you're just complaining that everybody's racist against you when you get older. Yeah. Life is very difficult.